Here's your wrestling news for May 16th, 2023, and we're kicking off with Raw as this week's show saw the Judgment Day make their presence known. The group of Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley have been popular with fans for some time now, but the quartet could soon be adding a fifth member. During Raw, JD McDonough made his in-ring debut on the main roster during a battle royal to determine Gunther's next challenger and took out Dolph Ziggler. After laying out Ziggler at ringside and sending him into the steel steps, McDonough said in a backstage interview that he's on Raw to make a statement. As he walked off, the camera panned and fans briefly saw Finn Balor looking on, clearly interested in what the Irish Ace had to say. It was only recently that it was reported that WWE was considering McDonough for the Judgment Day, and with the group's popularity, there are far worse options for the former Cruiserweight champion. But what do you think to this? Do you want to see JD in the Judgment Day, or should things stay as they are? Sound off in the comments below. Raw also saw the return of Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and the two wasted no time in making their intentions clear. After Raquel Rodriguez defeated Chelsea Green, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champion was attacked by the pair, and it's safe to say the duo want the titles. Prior to Ronda Rousey's injury, the plan had been for the pair to challenge for the women's tag team titles, and all reports suggested that they'd be winning. Judging by this week's Raw, the plan is still for Baszler and Rousey to win the titles, and is a championship reign for the two something that you want to see? AEW news now, as CM Punk's return to programming is expected to happen next month on the premiere episode of AEW Collision, a show that is expected to be announced this week. In the months since what transpired at All Out, Tony Khan has refused to speak about Punk, the media scrum, or the backstage fight, and he's not the only one being silent. If you watched the first episodes of AEW All Access, you'll have seen that while the Young Bucks did discuss being absent from AEW, they didn't mention why they were missing from September to November of last year, and certainly didn't mention CM Punk. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer revealed that originally the Bucks did speak about being suspended, and though they didn't mention Punk by name, these interviews were cut from the broadcast. It was explained that AEW's fear of any legal issues from bringing up Punk and the fight led to the decision to nix these interviews, as it had been stated that there are still some legal issues ongoing right now. This made the return of the Elite very confusing last November, as the story on screen was that AEW had tried to erase them, and there was no mention of Punk or what happened at All Out. If the plan is for Punk to return, then there will have to come a time when he is mentioned on TV, but for the time being, AEW doesn't want anyone talking or even thinking about talking about the former world champion. In the weeks running up to WrestleMania, Bray Wyatt was pulled from all programming due to an illness, and all mentions of the former Universal Champion dried up. Wyatt did not face Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania as originally planned, much to the chagrin of fans, and now his future in WWE is in serious jeopardy. PW Insider reports that Wyatt's name has been removed from the company's internal roster, meaning that not only is he not on Raw or SmackDown, but he's not being considered for any role at this time. This is the latest piece of bad news for Wyatt fans, as it was reported recently that Bray isn't cleared to compete, and there have been zero discussions among creative for his possible return. Wyatt's absence has also led to Uncle Howdy and Alexa Bliss being pulled from programming, but if his hiatus continues, WWE may have no choice but to bring Bliss back to TV and nix her plans with Bray. Bray Wyatt returned to WWE to a thunderous ovation last October, but many feel his run has been a dud, and with him off the roster, things are looking very uncertain for the former Fiend's future. In the run-up to this week's Raw, a WWE Women's Tag Title match was promoted, which would have seen Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defend against Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. During Raw, Rodriguez and Green instead faced off in singles action, and there's a reason why the title match didn't go ahead. Adam Pearce said that Morgan is out with an injury, and Fightful Select reports that this isn't just for the show, and Morgan is actually hurt. The injury is said to have occurred during a title match against Damage Control, but it is unclear if it was the one we saw on SmackDown or a different untelevised match between the two teams. It's also unclear just what injury Liv is dealing with, but it was serious enough for her to be pulled from a Cricket Store autograph signing where she was replaced by Dolph Ziggler. WWE does plan on having the title match eventually, but it just won't be right now, and we're wishing Liv a very speedy recovery from this setback. Earlier this year, it was reported that WWE intended to allow legalized betting on their matches despite pro wrestling being a scripted event. Almost immediately, issues began to sprout, with questions as to how WWE would stop ideas from leaking out, and many gambling commissions were quick to express their disinterest in the idea. In an update from CNBC, it turns out that Vince McMahon's dreams for legalized betting are continuing to face problems, with many states outright refusing to participate. Oregon, Maryland, and South Dakota outrightly dismissed the idea of laying down money to bet on wrestling matches, and the Oregon Lottery's sports betting product manager, Carrie Hemphill, said that while there's no law, their policy forbids betting on predetermined outcomes. Representatives from South Dakota and Oregon shared similar sentiments, and Ohio and Iowa have also objected to betting on WWE's predetermined matches. These aren't even the only states who have made it clear that they won't be taking WWE bets, as Arizona, Connecticut, Maine, Montana, Washington, and New Mexico have all either refused the idea or made it clear that there would be serious problems. The idea of betting on WWE was reportedly the brainchild of McMahon and Nick Khan, with the money earner also making WWE seem as big as football, soccer, baseball, and other unscripted sports, but with the response so far, don't expect any betting from WWE over their match results. Now for 3 seasons, fans have tuned into Vice's Dark Side of the Ring to learn about the seedy underbelly of professional wrestling, and the show has been a hit with audiences. Right now, fans are getting excited for the show's 4th season, but now the show's future is looking unstable. According to a report by PW Insider, Vice Media officially filed for bankruptcy in a New York court yesterday, though a potential sale is in the works. It was reported that the potential buyers are looking to buy Vice Media for $225 million, and that the bankruptcy filing was done in order to make this potential sale easier. Even if the sale goes through, there's no word on if the new owners will keep Dark Side of the Ring, as the show has faced criticism from wrestlers for what has been called selective editing. Dark Side of the Ring will see its 4th season premiere on May 30th, a season that at times looked like it had never come out, and with Vice's bankruptcy, we'll have to see if a 5th season ever happens. One name who will be part of the 4th season of Dark Side of the Ring is Marty Jannetty, whose life outside the ring has become just as infamous as his time in it. Jannetty, known by many as Party Marty for his wild outbursts and antics, has made headlines for years due to his behavior, but this week, the former Intercontinental Champion gave fans a somber update. While speaking to Bill Apter, Jannetty said that he wants to compete again, but doctors have told him he can never wrestle again, putting an end to his lengthy career in the squared circle. In that same interview, Jannetty also spoke about his old tag partner Shawn Michaels and said that he would love the chance to work with the Heartbreak Kid in NXT, training future superstars. It's one thing for a wrestler to retire on their own terms, but it's another when they are forced to retire, and we're wishing Jannetty the best with whatever's next for him in life. And we're ending today with SmackDown, and fans who attend this Friday's show will be getting their money's worth with the Blue brand. PW Insider reports that this week's show will be a double taping, which will also include next week's SmackDown, which will air on May 26th. The reason for that is that the WWE roster will be busy next week traveling to Jeddah for Night of Champions, and it would be impossible for names promoted for the premium live event to be on the Blue show. As to what'll happen at the taping, only time will tell, but WWE is making sure that there will be plenty of action next week ahead of Night of Champions.